Well, good morning, ladies and gents. Welcome to Friday the 8th of July. We're on day 5 of Hay 2022 and we look like we're getting somewhere, and it looks like there's a lot of people going somewhere as well. There's been a lot of aircraft flying around this morning, which I don't know, I preferred empty skies. Anyway, so far I've just opened the tractor windows up because it was red hot in there already. As usual, greased up the tedder, so that's sorted for the day. I always try and get it greased in the morning, it pushes any dust out of the joints, especially on that Franken tedder. So yeah, big girl, well, she's still cocked over. I have had a few people already asking me why don't I just patch it and just carry on. Well, we can see that it is just going. The tyres are just about done, and that's the good side. There we go, now she's set up for, you can see pretty much every lug is cracking out, and the beads come off anyway. So same on that side. I actually thought it was that one that's going to go first, but no. So yeah, I still need to make a phone call. Somebody said patching the inside of it, put a tube in it. Well, the tubes usually you end up just getting nipped. I say these ones are starting to, that's actually a split, but yeah, they're starting to go as well. Yeah, nicely. But how I got this back from Newby Hall without it giving out, I do not know. The old girls looked after me there. Anyway, that's that. So our plan today is, I've got the 4 acre hayfield down there. I've got this, which is going to be about 15 acres because we've lost this top end. And then there's another 4 acres up the lane. They were all cut at the same time. This morning, looking at it, it's damp to the touch, but that's because it hasn't had any heat on it yet. It tends to pull moisture from wherever it can and just feels a bit damp. So I turned this last night again. So our plan with this one will be to put the big rake on this morning, well, maybe this afternoon, give it time to burn off this moisture that's in it and rake this field up. I'm going to take a big rake down there and see what happens. The outside swath is going to get done by hopefully the big baler. Contractor's going to come, and he's also going to do the 4 acres up the lane. So I need to have the headlands of that road up and this other one up the lane road up for him to bale, so he can crack on. And ideally I'll get the little baler out and actually start knocking some bales out. Whether the bales get brought in this evening or they get left for the night, I'm not fussed. Generally what happens is I end up doing the mowing, the tedding, the raking and the baling, and then the boss, his brother that's come back from America, who's daft enough to want to do this, has come back for a few weeks, so he'll be helping. I think his sister might be helping, and then I've got one other lad that might help, just to stack in the barn. The grass itself isn't too bad. There's a couple of headlands that are looking a bit green still. I can't seem to get them to dry. But if the bales get left out, they'll sweat out anyway. I generally leave grass to get really crispy dry, because the hay barn, well, what we call the hay barn, which is just over there with striped roof on it, doesn't have any airflow through it. Or if it does, it's very little. So if it does go in steaming, I'll be pulling it back out with the tractor and grab. Unfortunately, if you watch like Four Winds Farms, Matt and the ladies and gents there, they get a blower on it and blow it through, so they can afford just to have it that little bit damper because it'll come out of the bale. But yeah, so we'll see what happens today, I suppose. See what else can break. Right, so it's like 8:30 in the morning. I'm just walking down the far end of the field. On a normal year, my boots would be sopping wet from dew, or at least damp from dew. Well, they're bone dry. Because we've not had any rain for well, significant amounts of rain for weeks. We've had the odd 10 or 15 mil, but the grass and the heaters evaporated that anyway. It means I can start turning earlier. Generally, as a rule of thumb, I'll go in for a brew about 10:30 in the morning to have that brew, come back out again, and the dew will have gone, which means I can get on to setting. Obviously, I can start a little bit earlier if there's no dew on it. But you just want that few couple of hours in the morning just to get it to burn off anything that's damp on top before you flip it over. Otherwise, you just end up turning wet onto dry, and the wet stays wet most likely until the next day when you flick it back over again. So yeah. Right, I've just jumped into the 4 acre hayfield, and there's something over that way which I don't think you'll see, but I can tell what it is already. It's one of those little phenomenons that happen, well, in hay time, and funny enough there was a few of them kicking around yesterday. But that looks like we've had a bit of a whirlwind go through. So basically when the temperatures get right, you can end up with like little tornadoes going around. And what happens is they just go straight across the field. I don't know how you'll see straight down there. It's also like these crop circles and big piles of hay, which doesn't really help drying, but the rest of the field's fine. You'd almost say it was just the wind blowing, but that's on a direct pattern straight through there. So for somebody like me who's conventionally baling hay and straw, conventionally baling, these turn into a pig because you can't really tear them out now unless you go through by hand and pull them apart. Basically the baler will end up just grabbing a big lump of it and sticking it in, which if you're lucky goes straight through. If you're not so lucky, you end up doing a shear bolt or plugging the baler or whatever else. So yeah, Jones. Right, so we are raking in the 698. As you can see, not really too bad, but we do have issues. This old girl, I can't get her to float on the hydraulics. I've never really had to use the hydraulics to float anything before, so the arms on the rotor rake are fixed, and she doesn't seem to have the power to lift the rakes up either. You have to stop and give it a load of reps, which is not good. Apart from that, she's got the power to do it. I mean, second gear high, so it's fairly quick. So if anybody's got one of these old girls, they'll know that no gear really fits anything. It's just a really odd box in it. So never mind. But yeah, we'll see how we get this done. We'll see how well we get this done, how long it takes. And then maybe move on to another field, otherwise I'll put the New Holland on this. It's going to be easier, I think, on everything. Right, well, big balers here anyway, so just going to do a couple of headlands, or laps around headland for us, just to get them off, and make my life easier, plus it's full of rubbish. So right, let me get started and watch it. Right, so I completely missed having the big baler go around. Sorry, I kind of, well, got busy. So yeah, I rode up the outside of this field, the headlands, did 3 passes with a big rake, and there were some fairly monstrous rows on there. Well, for a little baler anyway. Even big baler wasn't tramming on particularly. But yeah, so that's one of them. I can't remember how many there was now. I think it was 14 round the headland. So they're 6 band, 4 foot long. Yeah, like basically a Heston bale but small. Just for our horses. So there's 14 down there off the headland, and I don't know what there is off the other field at top. But we'll find out when I go gather it up, I suppose. So yeah, I'm just flipping this up. It's looking really nice and green. It doesn't really actually need fluffing up that much, but I just thought some of the grass I've got just throws up that little bit of green in bottom, and because of our storage there is no real airflow, so the drier I can get it the better. But yeah, it's not going too bad. So this was mown on Monday and it's now Friday. I cut some on Wednesday, and that stuff is now basically ready to go as well. So that's 2 days for that to become fit for baling, which is a bit nuts, to be honest, especially when we've still got some more heat to come. But there you go. So yeah, well, I'm just behind a moment. I want to try and get this baled, or the boys' winter field, which is over there, which I've rode up, if you can see. So when I had the big rake down there, I've taken rake up the lane because a mate of mine wants to use it next week, so I left it up there. But yeah, I just went round and did them. But yeah, I wanted to get this bale ready today, but unfortunately there's nobody around to give us a hand to gather bales in. Got a bit of a job coming on the estate to do first, so yeah. Right, that's going to be it for today. I'm just going to finish this bit off and then head home, I think. I do need some diesel yet again. So, hey, right, we'll catch you in the morning.